Hi. Okay, I'm going to continue explaining some examples on product of radicals, multiplication of radicals, because well, this subject will be included in our next partial exam. So I will work three more examples about this subject. Okay, we have the first one. It's pretty much like the last one, and the last one we solved in class. Remember to watch the video where I explain this subject, multiplication and division of radicals. In this video, I would like to solve three examples, as I said, and the first one is this. Okay, so as you remember, we have to start multiplying this term by these two terms, and I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use black. This term by these two terms, okay, just like you did in algebra. So let's see. I'm going to write the first product. Remember that we start writing the products, okay, and positive times a positive is a positive. The square root of 7 times the square root of 5. Negative times a positive is a negative. The square root of 5 times the square root of 7. A negative times a positive is a negative. The square root of 5 times the square root of 5. So, we studied. Write the product of the coefficients. Okay, it's 1. The coefficients in all of those products is 1, right? And write the product of the numbers inside in one radical, just one radical. So again, we have 1 in the second product, and we have the product inside the radical of 7 times 5. Then we have a negative. The product of the coefficients is 1 times 5 times 7, minus the product of the coefficients 1 times the product of the two numbers inside the radical, 2 5s. So let's see, let's simplify. I have a pair of 7s here, right? So I'm going to take that 7 out, multiplying the 1, and what is left inside the radical? 1, right? Please do not write 0. It's 1. Plus 1, nothing, no pair is inside the radical, so I just multiply 7 times 5, 35. Just like we did in class. Minus 1, again, I have no pairs here. I multiply 5 times 7, 35. Minus 1, that is going to multiply, I have a pair of 5s. This. So, I'm going to take out just 1 5 and write 1 inside the radical. So, remember that we wrote in class the square root of 1 is 1. Plus, in this case, it's just the square root of 35. You can write 1 times the square root of 35, right? Okay, it's the same thing. Minus, in this case, it's just 1 times 5 times 1, because the square root of 1 is 1. So what is 1 times 7 times 1? 7. What is the square root of 35 minus the square root of 35? 0, right? We simplify. And then minus 1 times 5 times 1 is just 5, and 7 minus 5 is 2. That's the answer. Okay? Again, you can pause the video, okay? Watch the whole work, or go back and watch the process again. Okay? That's one of the advantages of having this in video. Okay, so let's solve another example. A slightly different one. It will be the square root of 70 times the square root of 14 times the square root of 22. Okay, it's slightly different, but let's see. Okay, it's like the first example actually. We multiply the coefficients. What are the coefficients? Of course, it's 1, 1, and 1. So the answer is 1. That is the product of the coefficients. And the rule that I showed you yesterday, today as I am recording this, is write the product of the numbers inside the same radical. 70 times 14 times 22. Remember that we do not multiply because we want to simplify, and to simplify we have to factor. Okay, the opposite of multiplying. So 70. What is 70? 70 is 2 times 5 times 7. What is 14? 2 times 7. What is 22? 2 times 11. Then we can rearrange the factors. We can do that. 1, 2, 3 twos. 1, 2, 3. We have 5. 5, just 1, 5. We have 2 sevens. 1, 2. And we have 1, 11. So, let's simplify as we learn. One pair, another pair. We have 2 outside, 1 7, just 1 7, and inside we have 2 times 5 times 11. So, what is the answer of that? 2 times 7, 14, times the square root of 1. 2 times 5 is 10, times 11 is 110. But that's not the answer, of course. The answer, the final answer, is to multiply these two. Remember, 1 times 14 times the square root of 110. Well, it's going to be 14 times the square root of 110. And that's it. That's the answer. It's easy, right? Okay. This was like the first example that we solved. Okay, now, a different one. Now, I think this will be slightly different than before. I'm going to multiply minus 5 times the square root of 7 by 2 times the square root of 7 plus 4 times the square root of 30 minus the square root of 154. In this case, I'm going to follow the order of operations. It will be easier if you do that, and you won't get confused. So, according to the rule of operations, I have to solve whatever is inside the parentheses. Okay, so if we have addition and subtraction, we already studied that, and I cannot simplify the first term. It's just the square root of 7, so it's 2 times the square root of 7. I just copy. Plus 4, but 30, what is 30? 30, it will be 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, so I cannot simplify anything. Minus, what is the prime factors of 154? So 154 is going to be 2 times 7 times 11. So we cannot simplify anything. So we have pretty much the same thing. But in this case, I have to multiply just like in algebra, because I couldn't simplify anything inside the parentheses. I'm going to continue. I have to multiply this term by these 3 terms, just like in algebra. Remember, when you have a monomial multiplied by a polynomial, it's the same thing, but we have numbers here and you have letters in algebra, but it's the same thing, the same principle. So the first term, minus 5 times 2 minus 10 times the square root of 70 times 7, right? Because I have to write the product of the numbers inside one radical. Negative times positive is a negative. 25 times 4, and then it's going to be 70 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 1 is 5, right? Because the coefficient of that last term inside the parentheses is 1. Times the square root of 70 times 2 times 7 times 11. Okay, that's it. So let's see if we can simplify those 3 radicals. It's minus 10. Inside it will be what? 2 times 5 times 7 times 7. Okay, We can see that we can simplify something here. Minus 70, I'm sorry, 20, that's a 20, of course. And we have 2 times 5 times 7 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, the ones that we already had. Now plus 5, and inside the radicals is 2 times 5 times 7 times 2 times 7 times 11. Now let's rearrange the factors inside the radicals so we can see this. See what we're doing? Well, in this case, it's going to be the same. We have a pair of 7s. As you know, we are going to take out just one 7. And minus 20, let's rearrange the factors here. I have 1, 2, 2 2s. I have 1 3. I have 2 5s. And I have 1 7. Now plus 5. The square root of what? We have 2 2s. I have 1 5, 2 7s, and 1 11. There it is. Now let's see, what can we simplify with? The first term, the first radical, I have a pair of 7s, I have a pair of 2s here, a pair of 5s, pair of 2s, pair of 7s. So, let's do what we already know. It's minus 10 times 1 7, and inside we have 2 times 5. Then minus 20 times what? 1 2, 1 5, and 3 and 7 inside. We have 5 multiplying by 2 times 7 times what is left is 5 and 11 multiplying. So let's see. Minus 10 times 7, minus 70. And multiplying the square root of what? 10. Minus. It's going to be 200, right? Minus 20 times 2 times 5, 200 times 3 times 7 is 21, plus it's going to be 70, right? It's 5 times 2 times 7, 70, and inside 55, right? 55, 5 times 11. Okay, now let's try to simplify. Let's see if we can add or subtract something. But as we can see, we have different radicals. It's the square root of 10, the square root of 21, the square root of 55. Okay, they are not the same. Okay, so what do we do? Well, if we cannot simplify anything, that's the answer. Okay, so I hope we can work with questions, your questions, if there's any. In class, you can of course pause this video, watch all of the work, go back to the beginning of the example, okay, watch it as many times as you like, okay. So thanks for watching.